Hey, welcome. So today we're going to dive into this really powerful and honestly often overlooked partnership between two of your body's most critical organs, your gut and your liver. We're going to explore this deep biological connection and really get into why it matters so much for your health. So let's start with a really thought-provoking question. What if the health of your liver, the organ we always think of for processing toxins, is actually being shaped every single day by trillions of tiny microorganisms just living quietly down in your gut? Is that even possible? Well, the answer is a huge yes. They are. This isn't some sci-fi concept. It's a real, fundamental biological partnership. And it has a name we're going to get very familiar with: the gut-liver axis. You can think of it like a constant, super important conversation that's happening inside you right now. Okay, so to really understand this axis, we've got to start at the source. We're going to take a trip inside and meet the incredible community that's at the heart of this whole thing. Let's get to know your gut microbiome. And just look at the sheer scale of this. We're talking about trillions, with a T, of bacteria, viruses, fungi, the whole shebang. It's this bustling internal ecosystem. And these guys are not just hanging out for a free ride. They are an active, absolutely essential part of how your body works. And they work hard for you. They're in there digesting complex carbs that your body can't handle on its own. They're producing these vital things called short-chain fatty acids that literally fuel and protect your gut wall. They even help train your immune system. They're not just helpful, they're a critical partner in keeping you healthy. All right, so we've got this incredible, thriving microbial world inside of us. But how does it actually talk to the liver? Well, it turns out there's a direct, private superhighway that connects the two. And the key things to know here are bidirectional and portal vein. Bidirectional just means it's not a one-way street. The liver actually sends signals back to the gut. But that portal vein, that's the physical bridge. It's the highway. All the traffic coming from your gut has to travel on it to get to the liver. There's no other route. And this is really the crucial point. The liver is the first stop, the first line of defense. It's like the bouncer at the club for everything you absorb. It sees all the good stuff, the nutrients, the helpful signals from your microbes, but it also sees all the bad stuff, the toxins, and it has to sort through every last bit of it. Okay, so what happens when that gut barrier, that gatekeeper to the superhighway, gets compromised? Well, this is where the whole system can get thrown out of whack and where this connection can start to cause some serious problems. This lays it out really clearly. Think about it. A healthy gut barrier is like a fine mesh screen. It's a selective filter. But when you get an imbalance in your microbes, a state called dysbiosis, that barrier starts to get holes in it. It becomes what people call leaky. And that's when the trouble really begins, because now things are sneaking through into your bloodstream that have no business being there. And where does all that leaky traffic from the gut go first? Yep, you guessed it. Straight to the liver. So let's look at what happens when this finely tuned processing plant suddenly gets flooded with junk it was never designed to handle, at least not in these amounts. Here's the chain reaction step by step. First, you get these unwanted bacterial toxins, like something called lipopolysaccharide, or LPS for short, escaping the gut. They hop on that superhighway, the portal vein, and ride it straight to the liver. When they get there, the liver's immune cells see them as invaders and sound the alarm. This triggers inflammation. Now, a little bit of inflammation is normal, but when this is happening day in and day out, it becomes chronic, and that's when it starts to do real damage. And listen, this isn't just some abstract biology. It has serious, real-world health consequences. We now have strong research linking this whole leaky gut mechanism to the development and progression of major liver diseases, like non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. It could even make the damage from alcohol-related liver disease a whole lot worse. Now, I know this all sounds a little alarming, but here's the most important part. It's not a one-way street to disease, not at all. The science also gives us a roadmap for how we can support this amazing inner ecosystem and start to manage that traffic on the superhighway a little better. And here are some of the most powerful, actionable steps you can take. It really boils down to two things: feeding the good guys and starving the bad guys. You feed your good microbes with things like dietary fiber. They love that stuff. On the flip side, you want to cut back on things that harm them, like ultra-processed foods and too much alcohol. Those things can lead directly to that imbalance, that dysbiosis we were just talking about. And of course, beyond these big lifestyle changes, you hear a lot about things like probiotics and prebiotics. And yeah, they're being explored and they might help in certain situations, but
It's important to know the research is still evolving. We're still figuring out the best, most personalized ways to use them. So it's definitely a space to watch.
So let's wrap up with this thought. That conversation, that constant flow of information between your gut and your liver, it's happening inside you right now, at this very moment. And it's being influenced by what you eat, how you move, all the little choices you make. So the real question is, now that you know this conversation is happening, what are you going to do to change it for the better?